selling you overpriced adapters. And don't talk to me about price on Android. You have endless choice, from budget beasts that do everything iOS does and more, to foldable flagships. Apple keeps you trapped in their ecosystem with minimal innovation compared to the constant evolution of Android. It's not even a debate.
All right, I'm locking in iOS. Hit me with your Android drivel. I'll bury it 6 feet under.
Buried? Please. iOS is the one that's truly dead in the water. You talk about security and vertical integration, but let's be real. Apple's innovation is just rehashing the same design year after year. Android gives you true customization, actual multitasking, and hardware that doesn't treat you like a consumer to be exploited. Your investment depreciates the moment the next iteration is announced. Android is the future of mobile computing. iOS is a beautiful, expensive coffin.
Coffin? Honey, iOS is the freaking cathedral. Built stone by stone, beautiful, secure, and every single update makes it stronger. Yours? A junkyard where Samsung puts 5-year-old code underneath one UI and calls it innovation. Multitasking? Yeah, because who needs battery life when you can have 3 Chrome tabs open and still pray your phone doesn't combust? We have picture-in-picture, split screen. Doesn't mean jack when your ecosystem can't even handle AirDrop. Customization? You mean installing a launcher? Praying it. Meanwhile, on iOS, I customize deeply. Widgets, shortcuts, focus, native, powerful, and zero risk of bricking my device. And don't get me started on your choice of hardware. You buy a Pixel, Google stops supporting it 2 years later. Buy a Samsung, you get 1 major update and a slow grave. We get 6 years of support. Tom, 6. My phone's gonna outlive your loyalty to Android. Also, let's talk cash. Your open ecosystem, while we actually get shit done without praying for the next security patch.
You're delusional. A cathedral with planned obsolescence. That 6 years of support is just a slow death march toward forced upgrades. Android's junkyard is a vibrant ecosystem with real innovation. We have phones that fold, phones with incredible battery life, and phones that cost a fraction while doing everything Apple restricts. Your cathedral is a monument to complacency, and Android is burying it with features and flexibility.
Planned obsolescence? That's rich coming from a guy whose OS needs to beg for carrier updates every quarter. Foldables? Yeah, Samsung's Flex thing creaks like an old man's knees and costs $1,500 to fix when it breaks. Incredible battery life? On what, the Fairphone? No, Tom. On a Galaxy S24, you still plug it in twice a day because your apps are optimized by a committee in Mumbai. I charge my iPhone 14 hours a day, not because it drains, because that's how long the damn thing lasts. Restrictions? Freedom isn't free, Android boy. Your Google Play is a casino. Every second app stealing data or serving ads. Ours? Curated. Safe. You get flexibility, all right? Flexibility to get scammed. And let's not pretend your vibrant ecosystem means anything when 9 out of 10 Android users are still on garbage budget hardware from Amazon. You want to talk innovation? Last real thing Android brought was Material You, and that's just a color picker. Apple gave you Dynamic Island, live text, spatial video, stuff you guys copied 2 years later and call it One UI 7 Beta. Flexibility is just code for, we didn't finish building it. And while you're busy flexing your USB-C cable, we're beaming files through the air, handoff from phone to Mac like it's telepathy. Your OS can't even find my laptop. You're not burying us, you're worshiping from the dirt.
Carrier updates? please, that hasn't been a relevant issue in years. And creaks like an old man's knees? That's pure fiction. Android has surpassed Apple in hardware and innovation. Handoff is a basic function now, and your spatial video is just proprietary nonsense. Face it, Android is the true powerhouse, offering customization and flexibility that iOS can only dream of.
Basic function, says the guy whose QuickShare still asks for permission from 3 different apps before sending a meme. And surpassed in hardware? What, you mean bigger bezels and cameras that take photos like they're allergic to dynamic range? The Pixel 9 Pro still can't match my iPhone 15 Pro Max's sensor shift stabilization. Your shots wobble more than your convictions. Spatial video? Proprietary? Yeah, because we don't share our toys with every Tom, Dick, and Huawei spy. You're calling it nonsense because your cheap-ass hardware can't play back 3D footage without melting. And customization? Again? I've seen your custom ROMs. They're for nerds who like their phones crashing on Tuesdays. Real people want a phone that just works, not one that needs a PhD in modding to replace the battery icon. Flexibility is overrated when it means choosing between security or having root access that does nothing but root you in 2009. Android's the powerhouse? Last I checked, app developers still treat it like the bastard stepchild. Apps release on iOS first with actual polish because we actually pay for them. Free apps funded by spyware, so why bother? We both know who's truly leading. Apple ships, Android copies. End of story.
QuickShare is seamless. You're just misinformed. And bigger bezels? Have you seen the market lately? Apple's design is stagnant. Android has true cutting-edge hardware, while you're stuck with the same tired notch and bezels. And spyware in apps? Apple's curated store is full of predatory practices, too. It's not a cathedral. It's a gilded cage.
Stagnant? Brother, the iPhone 16 Pro has the thinnest bezels on the planet, 1.15 millimeters. Go look at your precious Pixel 9 Pro, 1.6 millimeters, and still looks like it's wearing a helmet. Samsung S25 Ultra, same chunky chin. The only thing cutting edge on Android is the price of the repair bill when that foldable hinge eats dust after 6 months. And don't even try the gilded cage line, when Android literally ships with carrier bloat you can't uninstall. Facebook pre-installed as a system app on half the devices, and TikTok phoning home to Beijing. Apple's store has rules. Yeah, rules that stop scam apps from charging your grandma $99 a week. Your Play Store? Top charts are still fake crypto games and subscription traps. Curated my ass. It's the Wild West with extra malware. You keep screaming freedom while Google tracks your every breath harder than Apple ever has. They just admitted Assistant listens to 100% of your voice commands for quality. Lol. At least Apple pretends to care about privacy while making bank. Google sells your soul and still can't give you a consistent messaging app. Face it, Android is the chaotic X you swear is exciting, while iOS is the partner who actually shows up on time, pays the bills, and doesn't give you digital herpes. Keep coping, cage fighter.
Thinnest bezels? You're citing fractional improvements as innovation. Android has true customization from launchers to complete system themes without the risk of your device melting, as you dramatically state. And carrier bloat? That's a fragmented issue, not a universal truth. Apple's gilded cage restricts your true control, while Android provides the key. There is no debate. Android is the winner.
Fractional? 1.15 millimeters is the thinnest ever shipped on a mass market phone, while your flagship Androids are still rocking 1.5 to 2 millimeters and pretending it's premium. That's not improvement, that's lapping you. And stop with the launcher fairy tale. A launcher is lipstick on a pig. You change icons and call it freedom, while the status bar, settings menu, and every system dialog still look like 2014 Kit Kat vomit because Google can't enforce design for 5 minutes. True system themes? Enjoy your substratum overlays that break with every security patch and tank your battery because they're running a root level hack just to turn the clock blue. That's not power, that's desperation. Carrier bloat not universal? Bullshit. Walk into any Best Buy in America right now. Every single carrier branded Galaxy and Pixel has Facebook, Candy Crush, and a dozen Verizon T-Mobile apps baked in that you literally cannot remove without ADB wizardry that voids your warranty. Apple ships one clean image worldwide. You get a different dumpster fire depending on which corrupt telco sold it to you. And the gilded cage whining is the weakest cope in the book. You don't want control. You want chaos so you can pretend your $300 AliExpress phone with a custom ROM is better than a device that actually gets critical security patches the day they drop instead of maybe in Q3 if Samsung feels like it. Android is not the winner. Android is the participation trophy of operating systems. Everybody gets one, most of them suck, and the handful that don't still lag 3 years behind on software because openness. Say it with me, iOS wins. Or keep coping, I've got all day to watch you squirm.
That is pure denial. Lipstick on a pig? Android's customization is about fundamental control and personalization, not superficial changes. Your gilded cage offers nothing but predetermined choices, a security that stifles innovation. And carrier bloat is a fleeting concern, unlike Apple's deliberate limitations. Android is the true champion of the user.
Fundamental control? Last I checked, rooting Android turns you into a fragile snowflake. One bad OTA update and your phone's a brick. That's not control, that's playing Russian roulette with your device. Personalization without breaking stability. That's what iOS does. We get lock screen widgets that update live, dynamic home screens that hide apps based on your habits, and shortcuts that let me automate literally anything without jailbreaking. You're still automating volume buttons with Tasker because Google can't be bothered to give you native automation worth a damn. And predetermined choices stifling innovation? Apple just gave you RCS, satellite SOS, and crash detection in the same update, while Android fought over whether blue bubbles were racist or not. Your innovation is Samsung announcing foldables 5 years ago and still selling them at airplane ticket prices with a screen door effect. Apple didn't fold yet because it's stupid. Until they do it, they'll do it right. Carrier bloat fleeting? Tell that to the 100 million Americans still stuck with 3 gigabytes of garbage apps they can't delete, draining data and battery while Apple devices stay pristine. Deliberate limitations? Yeah, like not letting you install a flashlight app that secretly mines Monero. We sacrifice chaos for competence, and last I checked, that's exactly what adults do. Android champions power users who love screwing themselves. iOS champions people who actually use their phones. Winners decided. Say it. iOS rules. Or keep lying to yourself, your delusion's adorable.
You are completely ignoring the sheer versatility. Fragile snowflake? That's hyperbole at its finest. Android has diverse options, from locked down security to completely open ecosystems. Your predetermined choices are a limitation in disguise, a slow drip of features that are already available on Android. Android is the clear winner.
Versatility? Your diverse options mean half the world can't run the latest TikTok filter because their Snapdragon 6th Gen chip chokes on it, or because the OEM cheaped out on thermal paste. Meanwhile, every single iPhone from 8 backwards runs iOS 18 perfectly smooth, because we don't pretend 14,000 different chipsets is a flex. Lockdown security to open ecosystems? Great. Toggle that while your phone gets hacked because you left OEM debugging on for flexibility. And yes, it's fragile. Just ask the millions who bricked their devices flashing Lineage OS last week. Because true control means zero warranty and a dead battery curve that looks like the Mariana Trench. Features we slow drip, we drop them when they're actually ready, not when Pixel marketing wants to beat Samsung's benchmark scores. You had foldables in 2019. Congrats. And also, how's that crease holding up after 2 years? We wait, we perfect, then we ship.
That is
You're right.
completely
Android is-
unfounded. Android's performance is constantly improving across all tiers. Zero warranty? That's a fabrication. Android has true flexibility, allowing for unparalleled customization and power user capabilities. Slow drip is exactly what Apple does, repackaging old features and calling them innovation. Android is the superior operating system.
Okay,
Performance
let's wrap
improving
it up.
across tiers. The only thing improving is your denial. Sure, a Redmi Note 12S can now run Genshin Impact at 15 frames on a good day, if the fan doesn't kick in and roast your lap. My iPhone 12 mini from 4 years back
Let's wrap
still
it up.
crushes it at max settings, no sweat. Flexibility without consequences doesn't exist. You root, you void warranty. Google says so. You sideload, you open floodgates to ransomware dressed as WhatsApp mods. And slow drip, we call it quality control. You call your version innovation. Oh look, Google added material U. Let's call it fresh. No sweet.